Hi YouTube. It's been about a year since I posted a video showing this handmade wooden Jumanji board that you can actually play with all the electronics inside. I wanted to do a little video today to show you my progress over about the last year, sort of trying to perfect both the construction of the board and the actual gameplay. So there's been a lot of new updates and wanted to document them here in this video. So just a little background on this board. This board was made from pine that I stained. The top faceplate here is a resin casting of Stephen Richter's really nice sculpture that he had posted a video on. And he made this available on Etsy that you could get copies of it to make your own board. And so I painted this up. Likewise, the playing field on the inside here is his sculpture. And resin casting. The inside of the board I hand carved just with a chisel and did some little carvings here, the leaves on the doors, just using a Dremel tool. The side panels here, these are printed on wood paper, just with a regular inkjet printer. The inside center dome here, I made a resin casted bezel for this. This was just sort of made from the Noble Collection plastic one, and I modified it to get the right size. And here, the inside glass here is actually a piece of clock glass. That's the right diameter for the screen. So this came out pretty well, I think, for my first attempt, but it wasn't quite close enough for me. There was a lot of things that I still wanted to do. So I want to show you the newest board that I've made, and there's been a few iterations in between these two, but I think this is sort of the final product. So this board is made completely out of African mahogany, and what I've done in the last year is sort of learned how to use a CNC machine and create 3D files. And so what you see on the top here is actually carved completely out of the wood. There's no seams here. This is one solid top that was carved with the CNC. And this sculpture is actually a direct recreation of the one from the actual movie that I was able to obtain from a friend. So kind of moving inside, I'll show you some of the other improvements that I've made. So you can see here the detail with the CNC is just exquisite. We spent a lot of time developing the 3D files to be able to do this. This is sort of a combination of 3D and 2.5D type file design. You can see the much improved detail on the leaves here compared to what I was able to do by hand before. The teeth are actually very accurate. In this one, this is more or less flat. This just sits on top of this flat part, although there is some detail in here. That's not really how it was in the actual game board. In the actual game board, you can see here that these are actually slanted and they interlock with the teeth on the other side. And these actually fit together perfectly, which is how it was supposed to be. I applied some more weathering on these to make this look a little bit more antiqued. And then on the inside here, this playing field now is made completely out of mahogany as well. There's no more resin here. This was carved and designed on the CNC. So the detail here, again, is very high. The other major improvement I've made here is in the center dome. So this center dome, I spent a lot of time trying to get the right size center that I could make a mold and actually cast out of tinted green resin. This gives it a much darker effect, which is more accurate to the movie board. And around here, you can see that this is actually a metal bezel that goes all around, a bronzed steel. How I was able to do this was to create a 3D file and have this 3D printed directly out of steel. So again, no plastic here. This is all metal and wood. Did a little bit of updates to the player tokens as well. I wasn't really happy with the way that the other ones looked, and these ones I think are a lot better than before. So that's most of the updates to the board. The actual gameplay itself has also been improved. So you can see I just turned on the board from the left side here. The things that I've changed in this one from this other original board, this one was actually sound sensors that picked up your dice roll. The problem with that, although it gave a really nice novel effect of having it turn on when you rolled the dice, my kids tend to just stomp around and make a lot of noise, and so it was hard to actually finish a game without triggering that. So this one actually can be triggered a riddle from either side with these buttons, you know, the false buttons that are on the board itself. And we've also changed the software to be able to have the riddle displayed on the side of the board that the players are facing, which is how it was in the movie. I was not able to achieve that effect with the original board. You can see here the Jumanji logo now coming up, playing the drum sounds. So as soon as that's done, you can start to play the game. I'm not going to roll the dice here because we're not actually going to play, but I'll show you the, I think, pretty neat addition of being able to have a riddle come from either side. So here, if you were to be a player on this side, you would roll your dice, move your token, and you'd get a riddle from this side. I've improved the animation on the letters, on the text a little bit better too, to more match the movie. I did spend quite a bit of time on that. Here's the challenge that you have to complete to be able to move your piece. Okay, so if you're a player on this side, you can roll your dice, press your button, and then the screen actually faces you this way. And this actually makes for a much better gameplay because you're not having to read things upside down. So we were able to program the Raspberry Pi to be able to change screen orientation based on which sensor was pressed. So I thought that was a really nice addition. And of course, we kept the ability for the game to sense when you've won Jumanji. Having your piece go on top of the dome. And that's it. So anyway, I wanted to kind of show off this new iteration. I think probably the final version that I'm pretty happy with, and hopefully inspire others to try to make their own board. It's a really fun, rewarding process. Cheers, everybody.